Well, hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Mitchell Osborn. This is the Intuitive Mitchell YouTube channel. And I'm a psychic medium, an animal communicator, tarot card, and Lenormand card reader. You can find me at mitchellosborn.com, notes in the description below. But I wanted to create this video for anyone who's lost a pet, and maybe the lost them as in they crossed over the Rainbow Bridge, not as in physically lost them. I actually created a different video, EFT tapping for missing animals, which you can look that up on my YouTube channel, or send me an email and I'll quickly send you that link back. But this is if a pet has crossed over, a pet has died. And especially if it's very traumatic for you, or the last moments with the animal were difficult to deal with and you keep playing them over. And this really can be done for almost any traumatic event. And it's a little bit of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming techniques that I use. And my story is this, and I'll tell you the story, that way you can relate to it. And I'm a storyteller naturally, so I usually teach within that story. So February the 9th of 2021, Bartolomeo, who was a cat of mine, and we made it onto a tarot deck called Pocket of Peers. We are the Eight of Cups, and that is me and Bartolomeo. And Bart, I was on a call with a client, and it was about 7:35 in the evening, and I hear him meowing, and the client had a cat, and we were talking about their cat, and I was like, Bart, saying hello. And then I hung up, and I was kind of waiting for the next client, which didn't show up, which was very fortuitous. And the meow in the other room turned, you know, if you have an animal, you know when their meow, their bark, whatever sounds different. So I went in there and I found him in the kitchen, in our house in the kitchen. He was laying on his side. He couldn't move. He had puked up a little bit of vomit. He was screaming and crying in pain. I opened the sliding glass door. I screamed for my husband, come in. I scooped Bart up. Just had no clue what was going on. And I immediately said, get the cat carrier, get your phone, grab your keys. I grabbed my keys. I said, make sure the house is locked, turn the alarm on. We got in the car. And all this started at like 7:45 p.m. And then we had to make a 17-minute drive to the vet, and it was loud crying. Fabian, my husband, pulled him out of that cat carrier because he wanted to hold him and cradle him. And unfortunately, he's in pain. So the person holding him, he thinks, you're causing my pain. He even bit my center console. He was in so much pain. He bit Fabian. And this is a cat who never bit anybody. He was just my heart and my soul, and probably the closest animal or physical being in this world to me. And we get to the vet within 17-20 minutes. The vet says it's not good. It's what they call fetal aortic thrombosis, which is like a blood clot or something, gets trapped. There's really no recovering from it. And this is about 11-year-old cat. He'd been with us 10 or 11 years, 9 or 10 years. And so from the time I heard the bad meow to the time we said goodbye to him, it was 63 minutes. So it was very fast. And some of the challenges were how painful it was in the end to see him. Some of it was that it was so quick that there was no time to prepare. But even then, what would I prepare for? Whether he was going to, pass over or not. A couple of the good things, because my husband was like, why did this have to happen this way? And I said, listen, we need to find the positives. First of all, we were both home. This could have happened in the middle of the day when we were at work, and who knows how long he might have been there or suffered. So finding the positives is one thing. And about 2 days, almost 2 days into it, I realized I couldn't get past the night of the crying, the screaming, the driving. And, every time I thought of it, I would just cry. And, I do what I do. And that is, I took one of my techniques, and this is what I want to teach you. So if you have a traumatic event, sit quietly if you can, where no one's going to bother you. And you can pretend you're like in a movie theater and you're looking up at a giant screen with your eyes closed and you're visualizing it. And visualize that last moments with them that was traumatic, or just when you're missing them and you're still in a lot of pain, all you can remember was how they looked right at the end. And then you just kind of play it forward and then rewind the movie of that last event forward and then backwards. And then slowly, just with your mind and creation and imagination, make it kind of like black and white. Make it foggy, dim it down like it's an old film where you can barely see what's going on. And you play it forward, and maybe you play it backwards. You play it forward and then just play it again. And then with your mind's eye, turn the volume down so it's not quite so harsh in your ears. What we're doing is we're dulling the senses to this event. We're not getting rid of it. We don't want to lose the memory, wash it away. But because it was such a traumatic moment for me, it was just remember the crying, the screaming, the pain, and then he was gone, just gone, So you dull the image, turn down the sound, allow it to get real fading and grainy where you can barely see it. And this is a cool technique because literally within maybe about 30, 40 minutes of me practicing this a few times, I was then able to move beyond that moment and go back to the times where he would sit in this red chair right back here and meditate with me almost every single morning. He would rub up against the door jambs and things like that, and he was such a sweet boy. So I was able to move beyond that. I still have my moments where I think about him and I want to cry, but it helped me get past that last traumatic moment. And since we're talking about animals and crossing over, many of the animals that I work with who have crossed over and their owners, almost always, because I literally will pull the picture up of the animal and write down almost a whole page of information for the client before I call them. And most of the time the animals will say to me, and my teachers all echo the same thing, they chose this time to go. It may not look like it was the best time, but you want to look and see how it could have been the best time. Release any guilt, even if your results are directly, for it. Unfortunately, I know people who've accidentally ran over their animal. They were in the garage and they didn't know they were there, and it was very difficult to deal with. They caused the death. But you've got to understand the soul contracts with the animals are so powerful. They are in control. They're much more sentient beings because they're so living in the moment. And the ones I've worked with and all my teachers say the same thing, and that is they choose their time to go. And what better way for you to honor them and their memory is to allow any guilt and shame, feeling like you're causing their problems, whatever, let it go so that you can move on to a better place and learn from it. And then if you do have any other animals come into your life, be a better human to those animals that come in. And then you can invite them into your dreams. You can invite them back in incarnation, but don't go looking for it. Just allow it to happen. So I hope this helps. Feel free to share it with anybody. And if you ever want to connect with me on social media, Mitchell Osborn, pretty much on all the social channels, mitchellosborn.com if you want to get a spread of tarot cards, Lenormand cards, or have an animal communication session. All right. Thank you so much. Namaste. Bye-bye.